Hello.
We're live.
So thank you everyone for joining this launch. We're so excited to have everyone here online.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing that we can still meet. Gotta love YouTube.
Thank goodness.
How is everyone this morning?
Well, I'm amazing. I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to speak about this bad boy. Very exciting working on it, and I'm glad we can chat with Subi today, who is the mastermind.
Yeah. Before we get started, I'm just going to do some general etiquette for the space. So this is YouTube, obviously, so we don't see you, audience. So if you've got questions in your little comment section on YouTube, you can go and comment and write questions, and we'll ask those at the end. And if you've got nice compliments, I mean, why not? Just send them our way. You're welcome to encourage us. It's always a little tricky when you can't see everyone's faces. And then just I'd like to introduce everyone on this call. So my name's Alison. Alison seems so formal. Normally people call me Ali. When I'm in trouble, I get called Alison. But yeah, I'm the creative director at Imagnary House, and I had the wonderful honor of working with Subi, who is the author and illustrator. Whoop, whoop. And and then we've got Brad. Who are you, Brad? No.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I am the publisher of Imaginary House, and I did I worked with Subi on developing Miyayu on more of the kind of story development.
Yeah, so we're really excited. Just bear with me. I'm trying to figure out this mirror situation. But yeah, we are launching this wonderful book, Miyayu. You can see it really is a wonderful comic. And the twist is that it's wordless. So why we wanted to develop a wordless comic is because we really believe that everyone should be able to read stories and everyone should have access to stories and the wonderful world of imagination. And we don't want literacy to be a barrier. So if you've got a little one that isn't reading it, this is perfect. If you've got a little one that is reading, it's also perfect because it just allows kids to have imagination and imagine the scenes. There's been a lot of research into wordless comics and how good they are for development. And our hope is that we get kids pumped about story and wanting to read. That's a little bit of a background into Miyayu and why we've gone wordless. And then before we kick off, I just want to introduce you to some of the, some of the main characters. So Subi, you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about the characters.
Okay, so the lead character, main character, is of course Miyayu. And he's a cute, naughty cat who comes from the wild, and he makes his way somehow into the city, and he likes to spend time with Tendo, who is also one of the main characters. He's a boy who lives in a normal neighborhood, a suburban neighborhood, with his mom, and his mom is constantly chasing Miyayu out of the house whenever she catches him inside, which is quite similar to my story. But let me continue on the main characters. And then there's Sebastian's cat, who is sort of like not really he's not the bad guy or anything. He's just quite like an opposite to Miyayu because he is a lot more of a suburban, well-trained, well-mannered cat, very fancy, very, very clean, very neat, and also quite jealous of Miyayu because he has so much fun and he's so loose with the activities that he gets involved in. And then we have a rat called Miko, who is right there. He's a real tough guy. He's almost like tiny and weird, and he's like a rat, but he's like a tough guy. And we're gonna have like a lot of fun situations where he slides into the story.
Awesome, thank you. That was really great. I do have to note that, Brad, behind you, you have a cat joining in for the feed.
She's escaping the other cat who's trying to play with her, but she doesn't want to have any of that.
Oh, geez. I also have I have some friends, good friends of mine, who are all horrified of cats. So this is
really?
quite interesting. Yeah. I told them what to watch, so this is going to be fun for them.
Yeah, well, I love the fact. So I actually didn't used to like cats, and I was quite scared of them. And then I got a cat in lockdown, and oh my word, it has changed my life. I love cats now, and I think because yeah, exactly. What's wonderful about cats is they've got such personalities, and that's what I loved about working with you, Subi, on this book, is because so many of these stories are actually really quite relatable for anyone with cats. I'm really excited to get into it. So I see on the screen we've got Miyayu means wildcat. So that's also, where does Miyayu come from? Why did you go with that name?
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I hope my mom's actually watching this. I sent her the link. So basically, I grew up in Pretoria. My parents came from Uganda, and in the language Luganda, Miyayu means wild cats in plural.
Okay.
And she would always, now she would always scream out whenever the real Sebastian's cat would show up, just in the backyard or just in front of the porch, or sometimes we'd find the cat hiding under her car just whenever she'd come back from work, because it was warm, of course. And I'd always just hear her screaming, meow, meow, and then the cat would run off, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And then whenever she wasn't there and the cat would be around, she shouldn't know about this, but I would let the cat inside and like play with it and then let it out.
The truth is revealed.
You were in your early life.
I love that.
Sorry.
I also love that. Miyayu's got, it sounds almost like a meow. It's got quite a cat sound to it.
I chose to break the rules of my mother tongue, sadly, because my mom would always I'd tell her about this comic, and she'd be like, "Yeah, but Subi, you need to remember it's Miyayu for one cat," and I'd be like, "Yes, you told me this, yes, but this is a branding decision." I think it's just like good that I make sure that she knows that I know that she told me.
The evidence is
now it's official. You're gonna have a recording of it. It's official. Yes.
I can't get in trouble by the Council of Uganda for this. So so it's obviously like a nice play on Meeeow, right? And I was like, that would be really cool, actually, instead of giving it a name like some sort of weird person's name, you know.
Yeah, no, I really love that. I think we need to get into the stories now. So, Brad, if you can bring up.
All right.
Yeah, so we're gonna be going through 2 stories today, and obviously it's a little bit different because it's a wordless comic, so it's not like a normal reading. So bear with us, everyone. We're gonna be going through Good Meownin. See that play on words, and the Kitty Cat's Bake Off. So just before we get into them, can you tell us a little bit about Good Meownin and what inspired that story?
Okay, cool. Good Meowning is the story it's based on 2 things. One thing being, when I was in high school, there's this game that we used to play. It was called Spoornet. which sounds really random. That's like a train company. But it was when you'd catch some undeserving poor soul sleeping somewhere in one of the bunk beds, because I was in a boarding school, and you'd catch them you catch them at the middle of the night, and like you'd smear toothpaste on their face, and it would wake them up, and they'd be like, "Oh." So on one part, it's based. I wanted to like mix that with the reality of showing a mother chasing out Miyayu from the house, because that's what my mom used to. Whenever she saw or even heard or saw the tail just like dangling somewhere, she would scream and chase and be like, "No, no!" So I wanted to like somehow mix those two in, and yeah, I think we did it. We managed to do it with good meowing.
Nice, amazing. No, I'm excited. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Good meowing. All right. Subi, are you going to walk us through, seeing as it's a wordless comic?
Yes. Yes, I would love to.
Brilliant. Let's have a look.
All right. So here we have Miyayu sneaking in, hoping that he can play with Tendo, because you can see the speech bubble. He's thinking, "Oh, we're gonna play, and it's gonna be awesome." And so he opens and he's like, "Hey, what's going on? Why is he still asleep?" And then he's obviously like trying to wake him up. He's getting fed up. He's throwing all sorts of things. He's like, he's like, "Come on, wake up."
I love that moment. I love that moment.
Yeah.
It's just the meow, meow, just like each little item.
Throwing
For
books.
anyone that's joined, you're welcome to share how your cat wakes you up.
Now he's just throwing like crumpled tissue paper, anything he can find. And Tendo is sound asleep, which is and then Miyayu just gives up and he's like, "Oh, you know what, let me just like go under the bed to curl into my little bed that he has made for him." And he just decides to like wait it out and think maybe this guy will wake up whenever. Who knows? Here's where the action begins. So then like he obviously sees like Tendo's head like slips through the bed and he's like, "Hey, maybe he's awake now." And then he's like, "Oh, wait. And then he decides, then he quickly grabs the toothpaste and he's like, "I know what I can do." Violently, I guess, or menacingly smears some toothpaste on his palm. And then he decides to climb up the bed and tickle his nose, and eventually all sorts of things happen. And then he climbs up the bed and he's like, "Okay, let me just try and carefully tickle the nose." You can see with his tail is just trying to like carefully target his nose because he knows it's really itchy. It's really sensitive there. And then he knows exactly what's gonna happen next.
That face says it all.
And then splat, there's toothpaste all over the place. Mainly his face, of course. And Tendo wakes up thinking, "What the hell's going on?" I really like drawing his face over there because he's really like oh. You know, when you wake up and you really don't know what's happening. Because really, when that used to happen at boarding school, the funniest bit was like the moment that the person is thinking, "What's going on here?" And they're like, "Whoa." So hilarious. So I try to like catch that with that drawing over there. And
I love that.
And then Miyayu's like obviously bursts into laughter, and he's excited. And then here comes the jeopardy. Now there's a knock on the door, and they're like, "Oh no."
This is so great because you see like the camaraderie of the two. Like you can see that there's this friendship that's been built. You know they're good friends when they stuck in this together.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So then obviously the door knocks, they're like, and then the clicks open and they're like, and then they're like gulp, and then obviously mom shows up.
I loved Miyayu's little
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah, he's like, she better not see me. Um, and of course the mom's like, something looks suspicious. What are you guys up to? What's going on? I mean, I guess she doesn't know that Miyayu's there yet, but she's just looking around thinking, what's going on here? And then she's like, hmm. And then she sees him under the bed, of course, and screams out, Miyayu! And then throws her morning slipper over.
That's a classic move too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And he
The
and he
slipper goes.
escapes. Yeah, he slips out the window that he climbed in through.
Oh man, good old Miyayu.
I also,
My friend,
I,
I got a message from my friend from high school who said cats are creepy.
I,
Yeah, Fumu's one of the guys who every time I drew this comic, I'd think, man, this guy's gonna hate this. But he still supports me, which is
well,
good.
I hope that this redeems some things for you, or potentially makes it worse.
That's and that is good
Yeah.
meowing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good meowing. And the visual of having Miyayu like jumping out the window. I when I did a lot of the sketches developing the comic, I was thinking it's similar to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where they would constantly throw Jazz out of Uncle Phil would constantly throw Jazz out of the house. I want to create like some sort of running, continual joke on that because mainly because my mom would constantly chase cats out of they wouldn't even get in the house. They would just get onto like the stoop.
You just
And
smell
she
them.
yeah, she'd just like see something like because the tail always gives it away. You would just see like a
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No,
also it speaks a lot to Miyayu's character. I feel like having jumping out the window and having things thrown after him because he's like this. He is a wild cat and he's mischievous, but he's like so good intentioned, but that his plans never go his way.
Yeah. No, I really love it, and I think it was also just wonderful developing this book. I'm not sure if they're on, but there were two girls in particular that helped us with developing this book, and we draw it out. And their names are Letty, or Letitia and Shireen, and they were. It was so wonderful because you would send through the drafts to us, and then we would want to do a test because I think. Brad, you can also speak to this. We often, when you're in a book, you understand the story and you can get quite tunnel vision. So, it was really important for us that the story translated. And so, I'm not sure if you're on, Letitia and Shireen, but a shout out to you guys. You were
thanks so much.
Yeah, you were incredible, and it was quite fun to just see them get excited and. Every time I did see them, I would get asked where the next one is. So just good motivation.
Yeah.
So now on to the next one, Kitty Cat's Bake Off. So Subi, can you just give a little bit of background without revealing the punchline?
Too much. Okay, cool. Okay, let me give like the wholesome background. So my mom would tell me how when I was much younger, essentially a baby, I didn't like eating anything. She'd make all sorts of cool meals like a stew or a stir fry or whatever. And this is including when I had teeth. So like she'd make all sorts of things and I wouldn't eat them. But whenever she'd made a pie or had a pie, I would absolutely devour a pie. And to this day, I still eat pies and all my friends would be like, "You're still eating pies." So there's that. So I was also like, but like when we sat at that cafe and discussed this idea of having some sort of some sort of a competition style comic. I think we decided that it would be like a sort of like a British Bake Off, but then I was like, no, it has to be pies. And then because of that, the sentimentality with pies that I have, they have literally kept me alive. So
that personal cat.
I had to give a shout out to pies, specifically the style of pie that you'll see in this comic. Just sort of like a silver sort of thing at the bottom and the puff pastry sticking out on top. Oh, I feel like a pie right now.
Yeah. I know. Although by the end of the story, you might not.
Oh yeah, exactly. Okay.
Well, let's
Before we get stuck into it, I just have to ironically control my cat behind me. I'll quickly introduce them to the screen. They're playing with Christmas wrapping paper behind me, and there's a lot of noise. You can say hello to everyone on YouTube.
That's
Fumu
Poppy.
needs to look away.
Like the Miyayu cat. I mean, yeah, she's like Miyayu, the wild cat.
Yeah, she is Miyayu.
Nice.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into this one. This one's really quite hilarious. Okay, so here we see that there's a kitty cat bake-off that's being set up, and there's a few cats that are like setting up their stations. They have their names on the different designated areas, and they've got like a bowl, some eggs, and they're outside in like a lovely park somewhere. I'm not sure where this park is, but it's just like, imagine like a nice park where nobody's going to disturb these cats. Then we've got an announcer cat who just shows up and hits the mic to check that it's on. And then we see Miyayu chilling there, and he didn't go and get his ingredients yet. And Sebastian the cat is there looking at him like, I'm definitely going to beat you.
She's all organized already.
Yeah, with some sort of like just grim and not envy, but just like, can't wait to like beat Miyayu. Then we've got the announcer cat pointing to the board saying, okay, guys, you're going to be making pies, and you've got 50 minutes. So she hits the timer, and Miyayu is like distracted by this little fly that's buzzing around. But Sebastian's cat gets busy, starting with grabbing the flour and the whisk and all that. You can move to the next. Yeah, then basically we've got so then the announcer's thinking, what's going on? Where's Miyayu? What's happening?
And leaves.
There's a couple of leaves that's showing that there's no activity happening. And obviously Sebastian's cat's already like quite far with baking, and then out of nowhere Miyayu shows up with his ingredients, and there's still like a few like weird things buzzing around him, but nobody can really notice it. And the announcer's like, hey, you've got 20 minutes, get to it.
That sassy look from Miyayu.
Miyayu's just like, but my ingredients, my beautiful ingredients.
Yeah. He's like, oh man, you guys are gonna love this. And the announcer's still like pestering him, like, listen, you don't have time. Time is ticking. And then Miyayu just like, blitzes through it, mixes all the ingredients, throws, and Sebastian's cat's obviously thinking, what's going on? What's this guy up to? And then throws the pie in the oven with 10 minutes left and pulls it out, and he's done right before.
Miyayu surprised us all.
Right before the end. And he's like, yeah. Then we've got the announcer goes around, and turns out the announcer is also the judge. So goes around and tastes, all the different pies that the cats made. Tastes Kuro's pie, tastes Lord Peanut's pie, and Chi-Chi's
I hope we get
pie.
to hear more of Lord Peanut in the future. That's
Oh yeah, of course. They taste all those pies, and then in the middle there, you can see that the cats are all a bit nervous, except for Miyayu. Miyayu's like, I got this.
Yeah, don't you worry.
Yeah. Then, of course, we see the announcer. I don't even have a name for this cat. I'm just calling them like announcer cat, judge cat. We'll come up with a name. They're just tasting this pie and they are in love. They can't believe it. So
Yeah, you.
that's yeah. And then now it's like time to announce the winners, and you can see the little podium at the back, and the cats are there, like clamoring,
Climbing
wondering
over each other.
who's it? Yeah, they're thinking, who did it? And they're also like tasting some pies as well. Then of course, the announcements. Chi Chi came in third place with her
Well
pie.
done, Chi Chi.
Hey.
Well done, Chi Chi.
And then Sebastian's cat comes in second place.
Woo!
Nice one.
He deserves applause, even though he was a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
dun
a
dun
little
dun
bit
dun.
And then of course
Miyayu!
is the winner. Yes. Miyayu is the winner of this kitty cat bake off. And of course Sebastian's cat's like, what?
Yes. What is going
I
on?
really enjoyed drawing just that whole scene altogether, because I really wanted the cat to be like completely gobsmacked, but still eating a pie.
Yeah.
Especially, I like it when Sebastian's cat's looking at his medal and like Miyayu celebrating there, and Sebastian's cat's looking at his medal, being like, "What is this?"
Just thinking like, how am I second? How? That just speaks to Sebastian's cat's jealousy. Yeah, and obviously now you get a nice zoom in shot of the wonderful pie with something flying around it, and then of course the announcer cat is like having a nice little nibble of the pie and asking, "Oh, how did you make this? It's amazing! Tell us how you did it."
What's
And then
everything?
Mia was like, "Yeah."
And he wished he never asked.
Yeah, exactly. And then Mia obviously opens up the little ingredients basket and pulls out a snail and some dentures.
I love the dentures.
All sorts of horrible things. Worms. The worms are still like smiling and dancing there. Some like an old half-eaten apple, cockroaches, horrible stuff, and it all stinks. And there's like everything. Like everybody's just like shivering now because they're thinking, "How am I eating this?"
Yeah, that's you can see just the absolute horror.
They're all like, "Oh my gosh!" And then they realize, "Oh, there's flies flying all over the place. Why didn't they notice this?" And over there, you can see Miyayu still like tugging into his body, and you can see there's even like a little bone in there, which is like, imagine a bone in a pie. That's crazy. Yeah, and Sebastian's cat's like, "How dare you? How could you? How did this guy win?"
Miyayu still just digs in. I love that.
Enjoying it. He loves it. And of course, the announcer's like, "Oh no, what's going on?" And then, and then this is when it gets hilarious. And then now all the cats have an upset stomach, and their tummies give way, and now they're just farting nonstop. There's all sorts of poots, proots.
I like the little.
Yeah. And it's all like, and it all stinks, and it's horrible now. And Sebastian's
I love
even more
this
angry. And then obviously he's finished his pie and he's sitting there thinking, win-win for me. I had a delicious pie and you won the competition. And then the other cat's obviously angry with him still. And then he has the greatest fart of
all time.
Yeah. And it flings him through the whole garden. And while he's flying, his medal flies off of his neck. And Sebastian's cat he peeps that it flew off, and while Miyayu lands in a bush, he quickly sneaks and swaps his medal out from Miyayu's.
I love
And
the
then,
scene.
And then that's probably the first time that you see Sebastian's cat looking,
Smug.
content and happy. Yeah, but also smug.
He's happy, but he's smug.
Yeah. And I love that little pour out. It's just so great. Like, I'm so perfect, but actually,
Oh man. Kitty Cat Bake Off.
Yeah.
Kitty
Cat's Bake Off.
Yeah, that was so much fun to work with you on that. And I mean, who doesn't like a little bit of fart humor? So,
farting it always sounds so hilarious.
Yeah, it's always great to see, especially when we do live readings. That's definitely the winner with kids. So
it
always will.
Yeah, just before I ask any questions, so just remember, if you've got any questions, you're welcome to pop them in the chat. So just let us know, and we'll also pop those in there. But let me get into. I'd like to know. So obviously Miyayu is the main character, but who is your favorite character other than Miyayu?
Oof, you see, I would have to say Sebastian's cat.
Okay.
Because
you like is it the contrast in personalities, or
because the contrast between them will be so fun to explore. Also, I think because lots of people will know. I think most friend groups have people like this. Somebody who's kind of like always doing silly things and having fun, even though they ruin everything for most people. And there'll be somebody who's just always thinks that they're better than everyone, but they never really get to realize they never get to achieve the things that they think they should. And it might be just because they believe that they are better than everyone and they are entitled to. So just looking at that and how it could be lots of fun to play with.
So while you read this, are you Miyayu or are you Sebastian? That is the question.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually we'll have like those Facebook quizzes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Watch out, from Imaginary House, we might be releasing a which character are you? Have you always loved creating stories, and when did you start?
Oh geez. Yes, I have. I used to I used to always draw things all the time. I used to make before I started making comics when I was like a teenager or whatever. When I was much younger in primary school, I used to make I used to draw little characters on paper and cut them out and like play with them like they were action figure sort of things. I don't even know if there's a name for that, but I used to like do that a lot, and I used to make all sorts of stories for these people. And then I got a PlayStation, and that all. Thanks, man. But then when I was in high school, I used to do comics quite often, and there were comics about the weird things that would happen in the high school. So now, for example, the one that I remember was quite a hit. Was when there was like some sort of soccer tryouts, and there was myself and another person in the hostel. We both had this. We were both the guys with the smelly feet. And but now the other guy had an actual. There was something you could see on his feet which looked like that's what was making the feet smelly. Some sort of, I guess, a fungus or something. So now in the comic that I did, we both tried out for the soccer team, but we were both not picked for the soccer team, which was quite sad. It was much more sadder for the other guy because he bought fancy new soccer boots.
No.
Yeah, but he didn't get it. So now the comic was involved I was also in there. I drew myself in a funny way, and we were there playing. So and then we didn't get picked, and the end of the comic, and throughout the comic, there were little things where I tried to show that there was actually a monster in his foot that was slowly like that was ruining his chances of becoming a soccer player, and it was like so like whenever he kicked the ball, it would absolutely go wrong. And eventually at the end, he's sitting there taking off his boots and he's sad, but then the monster's now grown to like be like bigger than him. And it's yeah. And that one was like, I think that's the first time when I was like, oh, I can actually do like comics and that. But then all the ones after that were not as fantastical. They were just like actual drawings based on what was happening in the school. Like somebody maybe fell down at the tuck shop, or somebody farted really loudly somewhere. Stuff like that.
Always a good story if it's a
if it's a fart, it's a hit.
I love the fact that you allowed yourself to laugh at yourself and create a story around that. And I think that was going to be my next question, but I think you've kind of answered that. Well, a little bit, actually, but just as to where you find inspiration. But I was also going to ask what Brad, you more can ask to this process, but what is your writing and illustrating process? Can you share
wisdom?
Some inspo?
Okay, listen up.
Listen to the wisdom.
Listen to the wisdom. I wish okay, let me start with the first one, writing and illustrating. I first, okay, I think the easiest way to say it is I like to think of, I'm inspired by ideas that make normal life look like that it could be, it's really difficult to answer this. I like stories that make me see normal things very differently, I think.
That's really nice.
I think that's like the best way I can sum it up, because I could really just go at length. Just if something can make me look at normal life basically and go, oh, that's an interesting idea. And then from that point, make it go supernatural and make it go crazy. So the crux of it is, if there's like an idea or a little story somewhere that makes me look at like a normal, like let's say there's some show on Netflix, I think, where there's like a house and people have a bunch of keys, and each key can, when you unlock the door, the room is completely different, and different keys. It's like that sort of thing where you can look at just normal things that you have, and like it makes the mundane have possibility to be interpreted as something
something else.
Yeah,
you're almost unlocking a whole new world.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. I think actually to back you up, Subi, and this is one of the story that we didn't show now, but it's in the book. You know, like Subi would often come to us when we were developing the comic and pitch ideas about what Miyayu could be getting up to. And the one was just about a cat playing in boxes. Because I mean, anyone who owns a cat will know that like when you can buy your cat like lots of toys and stuff, but if there's an empty box lying around, they're gonna go climb in there. So Subi created this entire like storyline about what could be going through the cat's head when they're doing that. And
there's a sneak peek on the screen currently.
It is.
Yeah, there it is. That's pretty cool. Brad's right. And then also the wisdom. I think the wisdom is like, the wisdom for anyone who's I would say try and make something that either makes you laugh or makes you let me just end it there. Just do something that can actually make you laugh, and that might be a laugh indirectly through somebody's reaction to the work you've done. And maybe that makes you feel that, that's actually, I made this person actually feel good about themselves, or I made them feel like they are capable of doing so much more. That's like, just to like make it short and sweet.
Yeah, I also think, Subi, like, just to speak to that, every time we met up with you, you're always so excited for your stories, and there was always laughter. And I think, it was so much fun to bring these stories to life, because it was fun coming up with concepts, and it was it was a joy. And I think also the wisdom or advice that I think from me is when I see an illustrator or creative, and that's what I love about my job actually, is I get to work with creatives that are generally in the publishing world pretty passionate about what they do. And for me, that's so inspiring, because it makes me want to keep creating and keep going. So I think, just to caveat on that, if there's anyone on here, like, just do what you love doing, and naturally you'll inspire, because Subi has naturally inspired. And I think, that's definitely been a big thing that I've seen throughout, working with you, working with all the other illustrators. It's just so great when you see someone having fun in their space. So Subi, keep doing you, because it's great. It's inspiring. You are wisdom.
Thanks. That's too much.
No.
I guess that answers that.
Let's see.
We can do. We got 2 more questions. I think the next one, I don't know if hopefully you have one, Subi, but what was a highlight of the process when developing Miyayu for you? Because I remember when you brought Miyayu to us, it was like in a very different form.
Definitely, very different. Very different. Okay, it was first supposed to be a picture book, just like a normal little, and it was also meant to rhyme as well. I remember I was trying to make it like little, like all sorts of rhymes, and like a refrain as well. I was really trying to do some stuff there, and then, but I was actually, I enjoyed what I first pitched to you guys, and then especially the ending of that one as well. And then you guys were like, actually, it should be a comic. And then I'd done some projects with some other people, not actually like discussed doing projects with other people, and they had told me that they believe that I should be trying to do more comics. And that was like before even you guys suggested. And I was like, you know what? These people are both from different parts of the world. They must be onto something. And like, so while developing Miyayu, I think the highlight of the process was just this. Firstly, obviously, like, we do the rough sketches, we get all sorts of ideas, and the best part, the highlight is making the sketches become real. And in that sense, it's like not necessarily like fully drawing them out like as you see them in this video and in the actual printed copy. There's like a section between that which nobody else can really see, where it becomes a decision, and I'm like, it's gonna be like that, and he's gonna smile like this, and she's gonna do this and that. It's a moment that kind of only I can see, but that's my favorite part, because it's mainly in my head and partly on the paper.
It's like the light bulb moment where it kind of fits together suddenly.
because obviously when I pitch them to you, it's like very really small looking rectangles with some squiggles in there, and that part is really fun. But like once you guys have said, okay, this works, that works, this is a bit convoluted, move that up, put this in, reduce it, and then now we have like the idea, and I'm like, okay, it's good. And then right there between that moment and drawing it out is the best moment.
Oh man,
because I know now exactly what it's gonna do, which is great.
Yeah. That's also fun on our side when we start seeing it come to life as well through that way. So I can understand.
Because I think we you send us the little for everyone listening, and we call it like just a storyboard where Subi will sketch out the story very, very quickly and roughly. And we see that, and then we provide feedback on that. And then we wait for what Subi's going to do. So it's always exciting for us because then then you see the story come to life in the next rendition. And obviously then the characters are drawn properly, and it's like it just takes on all this life. It's really exciting to see.
We've got one last question. I think this one's actually posed to Brad, publisher. So will there be more Miyayu adventures to follow?
Of course. I mean, it's a comic book, and we have planned Miyayu as just an endless series of adventures. So there will be more Miyayus, but we need your guys' support. So everyone listening in, we can only produce more books and get Subi to spend his time on it as well. If people are buying it and enjoying it. So please tell your friends and share it and purchase a copy. You can purchase a copy in your local bookstore on our website. And the more that happens, the quicker the stories will come out.
Oh, right there.
Little plug there. And I think that is, we distribute as Imaginary House, we distribute nationally. So you can find them in most of your bookstores. I will say cheeky, but if you buy on Imaginary House itself, it's actually better to support us through that way. And remember there is a missing I, so it's between the G and N. And that there is a story to it. We can't spell. We can spell, I promise you. You can actually go look at our website and read the story there. Thank you everyone for joining and for the comments and engagement, and thank you Subi for creating and for following your heart in this career, and thank you for Miyayu itself. And don't forget to get your book. And look, you can also, there's like a little, oh my word, this is hard. There you go.
Yeah, right there.
So, you can also color in, which is, this is very hard. It's the, you can kind of see. There is the other story in here, which is the one about boxes. And then we've also got, at the back, right at the back of the book, we've got the origins, so where Miyayu came from. Get a sneak peek into that.
That's going to be like a serial thing. So we need to make more comics so that you guys can actually understand, because we've already developed the whole story about where he came from. We just need to make more comics so that you guys can like slowly learn more, and you guys are going to love it.
Yeah. No, totally. And even in the book, we've also got little added strips in there. You can also make your own comic. And we've got a little bit of background into, you can see some of the original sketches that Subi has done. So, tell your friends, get everyone to support local. I mean, these are wonderful stocking fillers, just putting it out there.
Christmas is nearly here.
Yes, exactly. But thank you, everyone, for joining.
Yes, thank you.
All right. And yeah, everyone have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.